Hello and welcome to 5 Habits of. Today we are joined by the brilliant Katie Skelton, who is going to teach us about the 5 habits you need to grow your business with email. Hello, Katie Skelton. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited because today is got an extra bonus part to this recording. So after we have done our 5 habits of, we are going to have Rubik's Cube race. Completely indulgent. We both found out when we were preparing this, we can do the Rubik's Cube. So we're going to be racing. It shouldn't take too long, but I think we both really want to get to here. So with that in mind, you're going to give us 5 habits of growing your business with email because you are an email expert. You are, how do you describe yourself?
It was someone else who described me as it, but a massive email weirdo, apparently. And that was a compliment.
Brilliant. Cool. I'm a massive habits geek. You're a massive email weirdo. This is going to be a brilliant conversation. So tell us about habit number 1.
Okay, so habit number 1, and I think I said this to you before we started, I think all of these are kind of quite all encompassing for just running a business or being a human in general. But number 1 is resilience. And I kind of see resilience as being one of my core grounding points. I think I know that whatever happens, I will be okay. And that's something that I've kind of had to train my brain to do over lots of years. It's not always been the case, but just knowing that I can make a mistake with my emails. I can do something silly. There can be a typo. There can be a broken link, all of that stuff doesn't matter. And also handling people unsubscribing and stuff like that, it can be a bit of I was going to swear, it can mess with your head a bit, but actually, if you can build the resilience to know that none of that is personal and just to keep going through all of that, then that is one of the things that is going to kind of see you through doing the stuff that the majority of people will give up on.
Yeah. Okay. So, and this is resilience around putting something like a newsletter into the world and actually knowing that it's not going to be perfect all the time. Like I say, people are going to unsubscribe and it's not going to do what you think it's going to do, but you got to sort of ride it out because there's something out there. There's something on the end of it at some point.
Yeah, exactly. And also I think resilience when it comes to making offers as well. So actually telling people what it is you do, how you can help them, and selling yourself, and knowing that every single message, every single email is not going to land. I send an email every day and I still send emails that make 0 sales, and that's fine. It's just a point to learn from, and you learn what works, you learn what doesn't work, and you ditch the stuff that doesn't work and you do more of the stuff that does work. And actually just kind of building that resilience to knowing that not everything you try is going to work means that it becomes a lot less difficult to put yourself out there.
Nice. Okay, got it. Love it. Okay, so if that's habit number 1, what's habit number 2?
So habit number 2 is resourcefulness. And all of these are linked because I think that kind of resilience and resourcefulness, not just because they both begin with RE, go hand in hand, because you have to be willing to try different things and to kind of look outside of the norms. I've just written an email for next week, actually, about how, when you kind of peek behind the curtain of an industry, I used a magician as an example. So if you see how a trick is done, the magic then kind of gets taken out of the trick if you see it performed, because you know how it works and you're not like, oh, wow. So just being able to kind of pull yourself away from all of the advice that's kind of spouted out over and over again by the seasoned marketers that everybody's implementing because it's out there for free, and trying something that your gut or your brain just says to you, just try this, see what happens. And being resourceful about marketing, and it's kind of a combination, I guess, of resourcefulness and just kind of tuning into your own intuition around stuff. But being able to think differently from other people and not being so reliant on other people's methods to do what you want to do, because at the end of the day, your unique approach is what's going to attract people to you.
Nice. Okay, cool. So what is something you're doing that is a bit more resourceful that's different to other people? So what's one of your tricks that you've found that works?
I don't think there's anything massively groundbreaking. I'm not pretending that I'm some email marketing pioneer. One of the things I do differently from a lot of people is I just reply to everybody who replies to me. And you think that that would be a bit of a no-brainer, but there's loads of people out there with massive email lists who you'll send you a welcome email, ask you to reply because it's good to get a reply to that first email from a deliverability perspective. But then if you reply to them, they never respond. And that's really, like, I see that as missing a trick in terms of building relationships. And if you're a small business or like a business that's kind of built on a personal brand in particular, you'll stand out just by responding to people who are trying to start conversations with you. So as I said, it's not groundbreaking. It's really basic and it's not massively different, but there's a lot of people not doing it.
Nice. Okay. I love it. And actually that goes into one of the other habits that you've got on your list. Your one of your habits is conversation, isn't it? Is about actually, because emails are there because some people see them just as broadcast. So I use ConvertKit Kit for mine, and they actually call it broadcast, don't they? They don't call it conversation, so they call it broadcast. But you're saying lean into that conversation and really go for it. Yeah.
So the ultimate aim. So we can go into habit number 3 here, which is conversations. My ultimate aim for absolutely every part of my marketing is to either start or continue a conversation with someone. And that's because I've got evidence that if I have a conversation with someone, it will likely at some point lead to something good. And that doesn't have to be money. It could be a collaboration. It could be them introducing me to someone. It could be a friendship. I don't really care. I just like having conversations with people. And sometimes it leads to lucrative business arrangements, if you like. And sometimes it's just something else that's nice. So everything is grounded in trying to start or continue a conversation with people. And I ran a challenge a while back that was kind of a low ticket paid. So it was a paid thing. And I was trying to get people to sign up for it. 50 people signed up. And afterwards, I had a look at the 50 people who'd signed up. And of those people, 48 of them had replied to one of my emails at some point. So no, and that's not necessarily, it wasn't necessarily a really long conversation. It wasn't a conversation necessarily about that challenge that they signed up for. It could have just been someone saying, Katie, I love this email, and me saying, thanks very much, or something a bit deeper, or someone asking a question or something. But 48 out of 50 people had replied to an email and I'd responded back to them.
Oh, wow, that's a strong evidence that your newsletter is connecting with people, right? Because if people can care enough to reply to you, that shows that work is really paying off.
Yeah. And that kind of also goes back to the resilience piece as well, in that it's really easy. I was going to say it's really easy. On social media, it's a lot easier to get the dopamine hit than it is via email. It's harder to get people to reply on email because a lot of social media, people are writing comments on your social media as a way to increase their own profile or get visibility on themselves rather than it being a genuine connection to you. A lot of the time I'm commenting on this post in the hope that somebody will see something I write and that will lead to opportunities for me. With email, that's not the case. So it can feel like a bit of a slog putting yourself out into the world and not getting much back, especially at the beginning, because you're not getting that instant, like the likes coming up or the comments. It's kind of those two things are combined. If you start those conversations, it makes it feel a lot more rewarding. And also before those conversations start, the resilience is needed to keep going.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely. Cool. Great. Okay. So what's habit number 4 then?
Habit number 4 is very simple, and that's just writing every single day. I do that because I write an email every weekday. So it's very easy for me to sit there. I do generally write my emails the day before the next one goes out. So I have a kind of 30-minute slot every day where I just write tomorrow's email. But even when I've scheduled my emails for some reason, I will make time to do some kind of writing every day because it helps me articulate my thoughts. It just helps me kind of almost get stuff out onto the page and just rearrange it and make sense of stuff. And I think that if you are going to be consistent with emailing, which is really important, then getting into a consistent writing habit is the first thing, because obviously the fundamental part of emailing is writing.
Cool. So what do you like if you're writing every? God, I've got two questions. If you're writing a newsletter, if you're writing an email newsletter every day, is it the same thing you're writing like day on, like a same iteration of the same thing day on day? And then what are you doing in your own space to like really like lift out your thinking?
So I'll answer your second question first. The majority of the time, if I've got nothing to write, as in if I don't have a newsletter to write on any given day, I'll always be replying to other people's emails. So that's an act of kind of writing and articulating my opinions and my thoughts and my knowledge. But sometimes I'll just get a piece of paper or a blank Word document, and I'll just write on a topic, just like 15 minutes of free writing, just to see what comes out of my fingers. Might be absolute rubbish, or there might be a few little nuggets of gold in there. And that's what I'm going for, really. But it's more about the consistency of the habit than it is about the output. I'm not looking for a specific output, but I found that when, like, particularly in the summer, I went on holiday a couple of times and I scheduled all my emails the week before and then didn't do any writing while I was away. And when I came back, I found it really difficult to get back into. So next time I go away, I'm going to make sure that I keep up that actual daily writing habit, regardless of whether I'm doing it for work, because I've learned that it's like going to the gym, isn't it? If you stop going to the gym for a bit, you have to kind of build yourself back up again. As if I know that. I don't consistently go to the gym. But I've heard enough people use gym analogies to know that that's the case. And it's exactly the same with writing. And I think if you're going to commit to writing regularly, you need to just keep doing it, even if you've not really got anything to say. Nice.
Okay, cool. All right. And then so with your email every day that goes out, is there a pattern to what you're doing? Or do you mix up what goes out, or is it just what's in your head and you share it?
I have an outcome and a goal in mind for usually every week. And that depends on what I'm offering or what I'm planning on selling that week, because I make an offer in pretty much every email. And that could be kind of a really low level thing, or it could be something bigger. So I'll always have the outcome in mind, but the journey is always open to interpretation. So I will sit down and I'll think, right, okay, so this is what I want people to do or think or feel as a result of reading this email. And then I've got this massive bank of ideas of just random stuff that I've put into a spreadsheet, and I'll pick one and start writing on it. Or there'll be something that's been going around in my head. Usually it's kind of towards the end of the day, I'll write my actual email. And there'll be something that's been percolating in my head, or there'll be a conversation like this, where someone will ask me a question, or I will respond to something, and I think, oh, that would make a good longer email, and then it becomes tomorrow's email. So it always feels quite organic and natural, because I'm writing it from my brain at that second, rather than it being kind of a forced strategy. I don't like too many parameters.
Nice. Okay, I love it. Okay. So 4 down, 1 to go. What's this final habit that we need to think about?
Commitment. Just have to commit to doing it. Commit to yourself. Commit to other people if it helps. Like, accountability can be really helpful for some people to just get into the habit of doing something. But you have to say, right, I am going to commit. So this isn't actually email related, but when I first started posting regularly on LinkedIn, I said to myself, I'm going to post for the next 30 days. I'm making that commitment to myself. When I get to the end of the 30 days, I'll allow myself to make a decision about whether I continue or not, but I have to commit to that 30 days. So I would recommend doing that with email. If you're just getting started, or if you're looking to get into the habit of writing emails to a group of people on a regular basis, make a commitment for when you're going to get to the end of it. It's like dry January, that kind of thing. Like, a proportion of people who do dry January will go, oh yeah, I quite like that, I'm going to carry on with that. And it's the same with email. What I will say though is it does have to be something that you actually enjoy doing. If you absolutely hate it, no matter, you can have all the resilience, resourcefulness, conversations and commitment in the world, but you're not going to write every day, or you're not going to write regularly unless you actually enjoy the subject matter and enjoy the process. So that's one thing that's kind of an aside. It's not a habit, but it's definitely something that's important. You have to care.
Yeah, but I think that's important. You have to consider it. So I only started I call it a productivity prod. So my productivity prod 3 months ago, because I didn't have the space and the time to commit to it. And I didn't want to start and put something into the world that I knew I wouldn't be able to do and focus on. So like the thing you're saying about them, have space and have time to do it, really resonates. And I think it matters, because there's nothing worse than having 4 or 5 things that you started that you think are going to be useful for your business that just sitting there gathering dust and adding to the pressure of whatever's going on in your life and your business.
Yeah, exactly. And I have people ask me very regularly how often, 2 questions, how often they should post on LinkedIn and how often they should send emails. And the answer is always the same. You have to start with what feels sustainable to begin with. And then when that sustainability feels easy, then you can layer more on. But I always say there's nothing worse. There's loads of worse things than this. But if you say, I'm going to post 7 days a week on LinkedIn, and then you do that for 3 weeks, and then you don't post for 8 months because you've burnt yourself out, then that's no good to anyone. So actually it's better to go, I'm going to post once a week for a year and then see how it feels, and then layer more on if it feels easy, rather than just completely ruining everything for yourself by overcommitting.
Yeah.
So commitment, but not overcommitment.
Nice. Yeah, get it. Love it. Okay, cool. So that is us done. So shall we recap the 5 habits? Cool. So what is habit number 1?
Habit number 1 is resilience.
Cool. Habit number 2?
Resourcefulness.
3?
Conversations.
4?
Writing daily.
And number 5?
Commitment. I forgot that. I had to look at my bit of paper.
Awesome. Cool. Brilliant. And what words of wisdom, if someone's looking to start that habit of putting that email into the world to share their business and what's going on, what words of wisdom would you give them to start?
So in terms of words of wisdom, when it comes to just motivating yourself, a lot of people feel like they don't have anything to say. Everybody has something unique to say, even though you might not think you have a story, you might not think you're particularly unique, you might not think that you're particularly interesting. That's rubbish. Everyone's interesting to somebody, and you are interesting to the right people. So a lot of people will say just start when it comes to emails. I don't necessarily recommend that. I would do a bit of thinking first about what you actually want to get out of it, what you want your readers to take from it, and the kinds of content and how often you're going to send. So you can, going back to the habits, you can commit to something that is actually going to be sustainable for you and useful for other people. But once you've got that thinking done, then just start. What's the best that could happen?
Yeah, nice. I love it. Brilliant. That's great. So a couple more questions before we do the most important thing of this. Where can people sign up to your newsletter? If you've got it, where can people sign up to your newsletter?
So you can either go to my LinkedIn, where you can just search for Katie Skelton and hopefully find a picture of me with a little email icon next to me, or the URL is littlegreenduck.co.uk/email.
Nice. And how, if people want to work with you, what can you do for people? How do you help your clients? What do you do?
So I do a combination of group and one-to-one email marketing training for small business owners. So it tends to take in quite a lot more than email, because a lot of people come to me thinking that they want to layer email onto their existing marketing strategy. But then when we start looking at things, actually little other bits of their marketing need tweaking to make it fit. So it's kind of zooming out to have a look at what everything looks like and then making email do more of the heavy lifting for you. And that might be by starting writing regular emails or by improving what you're already doing.
Nice. Love it. Cool. Okay, great. So that leaves us one thing left to do, which leaves
what I have to ask you a question first, though. What are you doing right now? What do you want to tell the audience about?
Well, in January, I'm launching my productivity pod, not the prod, the pod, which is about helping people, micro business owners, focus for 9 weeks to get something that matters to their business into the world. So it might well be They know they want to do a newsletter, but they haven't got an idea of how they're going to do it. So over the 9 weeks, I help them build their plan and then execute it. So I'm not the email expert, I'm the process person. So I'll hold your process, I'll give you accountability, I will help you break it down into manageable chunks. And it's about building the things that you were talking about, the consistency part and the habits, the writing daily, and actually helping people put that into the world. And if people join and sign up now, there's some free coaching to get you ready for 2025. So I love talking to people like yourself because you put so much free stuff into the world that people just need to execute it. And the people just sometimes can't do that executing. So there's all the knowledge in the world. Every idiot has got a YouTube channel and they're putting all that knowledge into the world. But actually, it's about executing it and being consistent. So that is what I'm working on.
Nice. Love it. Sounds good.
Nice. Cool. So if you've only came for the email and productivity, you can now leave us and you can go on your merry way and have a brilliant day. If you want to watch the most important thing going, we are going to have a race to do a Rubik's Cube. And I have found some background music on the StreamYard, which is called Feeding the Ducks. And as your company is... So we are going to...
so nervous.
So nervous. So I am going to put the Feeding the Ducks on and we're going to time this. So I'm going to get my phone out and we are going to time to see... Are we just racing? I'm going to time it to see how quick it is.
Time it to see how quick we are as well.
Yeah.
Are we going to do a quick scramble as well? A live scramble?
Yeah, so
mine's already scrambled, but I'll keep scrambling.
Well. So...
Oh shit.
So I'm gonna click everything all. I'm gonna click the timer and I'm gonna whack. I haven't got a clue what Feeding the Ducks sounds like, and if it's horrific, I'm not gonna change it because I'm not gonna lose. Actually, I'll test it before we go.
Oh, it's quite relaxing.
Yeah. So we're feeding the ducks.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
3,
Let's do it.
2, 1, go.
This is the worst. I'm never doing it again.
Terrific. I'm never doing it again.
So bad. No.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Fantastic.
Oh no. I've got really sweaty hands.
You're really sorry. I keep holding my breath and I think I might pass out.
Horrible. Whose idea was this?
This seemed like a good idea at the time.
It's just worst. No.
That's 1 minute 30.
Oh shit. Oh god.
I just got lucky. One of my parts was done when I.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I've had a setback, so this is not good.
Is it not? What am I doing wrong? Oh no, got my mind blank.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, you bastards. I'm still a few slides off. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Okay, I'm done.
Yes, that was nice. That was 3 minutes.
That was pretty close.
It was pretty close, and I got super lucky. I did like my second to last step, and it completed. Like I just dumb luck.
Yeah, and I had one. There was one bit where if you have, I'm not going to explain the science behind it, but if you like, there's a particular pattern where you have to kind of undo it to redo it, and I had to undo it to redo it, and it's just luck of the draw. But that was fun. Well done. Congratulations.
Well, that was amazing. It was so much fun. Thank you, Katie, for joining me today on 5 Habits of. It's been a pleasure. Anyone at home, if you want to find out more, you can find us on our LinkedIn profiles. You can also find us on the website. So links will be in the comments. Have an amazing day.
Bye.
Bye.